Like Broomhead now. News Talk 550 KFYI. KFYI.com.
Okay. Always bringing people in to make headlines, and this was a headline. I think you are either doing really well in a political campaign or really badly when Limbaugh picks it up. So Wendy Rogers joins me in. Lieutenant Colonel Rogers, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's an honor to be here, really.
It is. Limbaugh clarified a statement for me, which anybody in talk radio knows we hate complimenting each other no matter who it is, but Limbaugh did such a good job of clarifying my thoughts on your ad. Let's just get that out of the way. Do you have any regrets about the video part of that ad? Not the message of the ad, but using that piece of video?
We are aggressive in that video. We are aggressive in that ad to hold Kyrsten Sinema to account for her weak record on national security. And that ad underscores two votes that she made. One was to let Guantanamo Bay detainees go back home and make war again on our country. The other vote is to try terrorists as common criminals in our country, on U.S. soil, in American courts, under the United States Constitution. That's the upshot of the ad. The ad has struck a nerve around the world. It's gone from Great Britain to Singapore, reverberated the proverbial shot heard around the world.
It's interesting because, especially now, because one of these terrorists said, "I'll see you in New York City." And the one thing I want us to always do, I try to do myself, is let's stick to the issues. Well, this is the issue. This is the issue of the day right now, especially for someone in your position. With all due respect, I don't want to tell you how to do your job if you get to D.C., but this is the issue. We need, and the reason why I said I've become such an advocate in your campaign is I know you casually. I watched when you ran for the legislature, but you're a veteran of our military. This VA scandal made me so sick to my stomach. I was standing with veterans, all of us in tears, and there's not a soul, and this crosses political lines, that says these people made promises to us and kept them. The least we can do is keep our promises to them. And that's not a partisan issue. What better people to have to make sure this really gets fixed than veterans?
Absolutely, and thank you for bringing this up. I use the VA. The Phoenix VA is in my district. My husband uses the VA. We both served concurrent 20-year military careers. I'm a fifth-generation career military veteran. Our son is the sixth generation in our family to serve. I've been using the VA for many years now, and it is tragic to even have come to this situation where men and women may have died waiting for appointments. We do not leave anyone behind. I served half my career practically overseas. The level of medical care to those of us who are serving on active duty is fantastic. I had our daughter overseas at Landstuhl Army Regional Medical Center in Germany, which is where all the troops come on their way home from the battlefield. And interestingly, if I may tell this, when I had her during Desert Shield, which was the spin-up to Desert Storm, they told me, "Major Rogers, if you have this child and the war has begun, you will give birth and go home and come and get your child in 2 days. Because this will not be an OBGYN unit here at Landstuhl. This will be a burn unit."
Wow. Incredible.
And so this is what active duty people have come to expect in terms of medical care. We know the military will be there for us.
Do you, with your experience in the military, having the ear of people in the military now, do you think they feel abandoned by some of the policies of what's going on right now?
People in the military abhor politicians who, as I said, I'm very young, trot us military people out like props. When it's convenient for her, she trots out families and veterans to use as props when it's convenient and expedient. But when we need the political will to get the mission done and to make sure that no one is left behind and to make sure that we are equipped to be able to conduct the battle, then oftentimes the political will isn't there and politicians don't back us up in the military. So absolutely what you say is right. And I don't know if the listening audience understands this, but right now Congress is comprised of only 19% veterans. 19%. In 1960, it was 80%. Wow. This is why we have problems at the Phoenix VA. This is why we have a border that is not secure.
I didn't know that statistic. That to me is staggering. What is it that motivated you to run for the seat? What's your motivation behind it?
I want to serve my country.
How many? And you were 20 years in the Air Force.
Yes.
What was your favorite job, and what was your favorite duty that you had? Give me one story.
I'll give you a story that comes to mind because I get this often asked of me. How was that, Wendy Rogers, flying as a pilot in the Air Force? I remember one time in Europe when I was flying the C-21 Learjet, and I was about 20 weeks pregnant.
All right. How does that work?
It's legal. You can fly pregnant if it's more than a single-engine aircraft, if there's more than one pilot, and it's not a training mission. So I was flying intra-theater missions, and I had the tunic uniform on, which a pregnant woman wears. And I was at the top of the stairs of my Learjet, and my passenger that day was a 4-star Air Force general. And he came up to the aircraft and looked up and saw me, his pilot, who was pregnant. And he is a devout man of faith, actually. And he looked at me with a deer-in-the-headlights stare and was speechless. And I looked down at him and I said, "Sir, it's okay. It's legal. Just get on the airplane."
Nice.
And I was going to tell him to keep his feet off the furniture, but I didn't quite have the nerve to say that. That kind of is an example of the fact that I was stationed overseas, I was pregnant, I was flying operational missions throughout the European theater. And by the way, this was 1990.
Wow. Let me ask you, I know I'm bouncing all over the place with some of these questions, but do you understand the disenfranchised voter? I mean, we have so many people scrambling to be independent voters. They haven't compromised their principles, but they've kind of have a disdain for party politics. What do you say to those voters, whether it's to vote for you, but to get them to reengage? I believe it's those voters that could really help fix the problem if they would reengage. What do you say to them?
I'll tell you what they say to me, because I've knocked on 13,000 doors riding my bicycle to listen to this very kind of vote.
How do you do that? I want to. We'll get back to how you do that in a minute. But okay, answer the first question. I got to find out about the bicycle thing, though.
Sure. Independents tell me they vote for the person, not the party. There are two kinds of independents: those who were Republicans or Democrats and then broke away from being in a party, or usually the younger demographic independent is somebody who opted not to be in a party at all. And by the way, philosophically, independents range the entire spectrum, so there's no generalizing about them. But overriding is the fact that they vote for the person, not the party. And so what you will see, and what you are seeing in this race in particular, is a strong movement for independents and even Democrats to vote for me. In fact, the race is very much breaking in our favor for two reasons. One, they know we're not secure, and they know they can trust a veteran who has taken the oath of office on the Bible, by the way, which my opponent did not do.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Okay.
I took the oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So Democrats, independents, and Republicans understand that. That transcends party. Also, I meet a payroll. My husband and I have owned our own business for 18 years. We create jobs. We take care of our employees. They are full-time employees. And we honor them in making sure that they are employed and they get jobs. My husband is the last one to take the jobs, because that's how we take care of our employees. So those two attributes speak to why an independent will vote for me, the candidate, rather than me, the Republican, in this kind of situation.
Fair answer. All right, I got to take a quick break, and I got to get to traffic in just a moment, but I want to ask about border security. I want to get to that issue as well because that has been another big part of this campaign. All right, here in about 30 seconds.
Sharp, weekday mornings at 5:06. News Talk 550 KFYI.
All right, we're back. Joining me in studio is congressional candidate Lieutenant Colonel Wendy Rogers. And I said when we went to break, I wanted to talk about border security because it's another big part of this conversation. It has gone from, first it's humanitarian reasons. And do you believe the border is secure, first of all?
No.
Okay. And what needs to be done and what is your intent when you get, because you can't do it alone. How do you build the coalition of members of Congress to finally get it secured?
Well, I'll tell you, just to back up a step, Ambassador John Bolton called me last week, and I mentioned this on Barry Young as well. We had a long talk, and he said, Wendy Rogers, the move now is to finance these Senate races so that the Republican Party can take the Senate. But what is not being done enough of is supporting these U.S. congressional races for the House of Representatives, because the more members we have in the House, which is, of course, what I'm running for, the more clout we will have to have sanity prevail. And so we need more members in the U.S. House of Representatives, he said, and he is backing me, of course, endorsement-wise and funding-wise. He has donated to make sure we have more voices in the House of Representatives, and this is where we can have more veterans serving. So to your point, it is a question of national security. This is a situation now where we could have Ebola coming across the border and not even know it. We are talking about a situation where even if someone doesn't have malicious intent, he could be coming across the border and we wouldn't know until it's too late.
And I wonder if we're finally going to get it. I mean, I see that's what bothers me more than anything else is both sides seem to agree that we need the border secured, and both sides seem to agree that we can secure it. What's the when do they finally say politics be damned, let's get it secured? Do you think finally with this Ebola scare, it being a health issue now that they'll do it? Do you think maybe that's going to be the linchpin to get it done?
I hope so, but I can't count on that. And I'm going to do everything in my power to secure it by winning this seat and serving my country again.
So what is I want to remind everyone, if you want, I would love for you to do this. If you check out Lieutenant Colonel Rogers' website, it's wendyrogers.org. You can go to the website. It's a great website. I was going on this today, looking through it. You can meet and hear about her service. She talks about her service in the military. There's a lot of information on there and a place for you to contribute to if you'd like to do that. But wendyrogers.org. And, I usually try to stay out of things for a while, but I've become such an advocate because you're a veteran, and I really believe that it's the common sense, get the job done, do your duty attitude we're missing. It's too much of a good old boys club there, and I'm not making a pun about your gender. I mean, it really seems to be, I'll compromise on yours, next time you compromise on mine, but there comes a time when things are just too important that we've just got to get things fixed. And what do you say about the economy? What can the House of Representatives do to help? You're a small business owner. You go to Congress, what do you do to help other small business owners in Arizona?
What we do is we sunset regulations where the government has gotten in the way of small business. Small business creates 7 out of 10 jobs. You and I talked about this during the break. You were an electrician. I own a home inspection company. We go into people's homes. We perform a very valuable service that's extremely personal. We can't get our job done as well as we'd like or create the jobs as a small business as we would like with so much government in the way. It stifles. Government has no business being in the way of small business. That's why National Federation of Independent Business so vociferously supported me. This is the backbone of the United States of America. This is what I retired as an Air Force officer to do, was to come home, my husband and I, and open a small business. We opened it out of our house in Mesa. Then we moved into a slightly larger rental office, and now we have an office complex with other entrepreneurs with us where we have our business. This is precious. This is America. Where else can a woman be a 5th-generation career military officer, be one of the first 100 women pilots? to fly airplanes for her country, come home with her 2 young children and husband, and own a business and meet a payroll, and then run for United States Congress. This is America, and I get asked often, well, what about being a woman and all this kind of stuff? It's the mission. It's the mission that my heart beats for. It's the mission to defend my country and to serve my country.
You know, it's funny. I was going to ask you as the last question, but a minute and a half left. I was going to ask you, why should people vote for you as opposed to Kyrsten Sinema? But you've answered the question. I mean, that to me is the difference. I'm going to give you my pitch. I want you to tell me what I'm leaving out here. Records are really clear. Kyrsten Sinema has voted. She wants to close Guantanamo Bay. She wants to try people at Gitmo as criminals. And I've had people say to me, Mike, there's this thing called the Constitution. Well, not when you're at war. So if they're at war with us and we're at war, you have to decide as a voter. If you believe they should get court-appointed attorneys and be tried in the American court system, vote for Kyrsten Sinema. If you believe these people are at war with us and you want somebody in Congress that knows how to go to war if we need to and make sure that the military has the backing of the Congress that they need to be victorious, vote for Wendy Rogers. What did I get wrong?
Well, 4 things I just want everybody to make sure. She talks about education. I am a teacher. She talks about the military. I've grown up in the military and served in the military. She talks about small business. I meet a payroll. And finally, let's talk about family and Social Security. I have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. I'll go to Congress to protect Social Security because it's not protected.
No, there you have it. Wendy Rogers, thanks for coming in, Lieutenant Colonel Rogers. WendyRogers.org. Check her out on the website. Give her your backing. Let's bring her home to victory.